Hey everybody, welcome to Culinary Characters Unlocked. I'm David Page. You know, they say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and virtually nobody serves it up better than my guest on this episode, Sarah Simington. She's owner of the Blue Moon Cafe in Baltimore, where her incredible creations include French toast encrusted in Captain Crunch. Sarah, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Could not be better. But then again, I'm not the one who just came back from France.
Yes. And going to Costa Rica in 5 weeks.
You're just peripatetic.
That's it.
How was France? How was the food?
We didn't get to go to a lot of places. I wasn't with the biggest of foodies, but where we did go was delicious. We had lots of pastries, ham and cheese croissants, eclairs. My niece fell in love with the truffle pasta. She opened a new favorite flavor being truffle. She had never had like the fresh black truffle before, and it's definitely an experience.
And now you're back and settling back in. So, Captain Crunch French Toast.
Yeah, man.
How did that happen?
I mean, do you want the PC version or the truth?
Let's go with the truth.
Okay. The Blue Moon Cafe, the cafe's downstairs and my apartment was upstairs. I lived there, obviously. I used to partake in a lot of marijuana. And I had the munchies, and French toast has always been my favorite. Captain Crunch is my favorite cereal. And it was just, I was listening to Black Sabbath, and there was just like this lightning bolt moment of let's go put this together. So I did, and it was phenomenal. And now it's actually on menus all across the world, which is that's pretty cool. I created a breakfast staple.
You certainly did. How'd you get to the Blue Moon? What was your path into the food biz?
Okay, well, I guess it starts kind of at birth. My mom has always been in the restaurant field, whether it was waitressing, managing, everything from a Red Apple to a Little Caesars for a little while. I grew up on a diner stool. That was my babysitter, was the other servers, and they'd fill up my hot chocolate and give me extra whipped cream, to her owning her own restaurant. And, I'd go downstairs and scream for French toast or pancakes. And that's just, I was raised in a restaurant.
When did you start working in restaurants?
A real restaurant when I opened the Blue Moon. Before that, I managed coffee houses. I lived in California. My favorite thing is making drinks, and I just love a coffee house feel, which is what Blue Moon was originally going to be.
When your mom and her best friend invited you to join them opening it, how did that go down?
My mom called me and she's like, listen, we're going to do this. You're going to love Fells Point. It suits your style. So I sold everything I owned. And 2 weeks later, I moved to Baltimore, where I have now been for coming on 28 years.
Wow. How do you end up in the restaurant business, having grown up in it and having seen the hours, the difficulty, the frustrations, the limited profits?
Yeah. Well, now listen, the servers have a tendency to make more money than the owners if it's done right. My staff makes really, really good money. But, it's in the blood. That's the only way to answer it. It's in the blood. There's nothing else I could do, not to mention I'm a Virgo. So I have a very type A, I need to be in charge personality. So working for somebody else probably wouldn't have worked out in my favor either. And I'm an artist, so it's an artistic expression. I get to put my heart and soul onto a plate, and then I get to make people smile. It's very gratifying. It's a lot of hard work. No, I'm not going to be incredibly wealthy, but I'm satisfied and I feel proud, and I know that I make people happy, and that goes a long way.
You have to want to make people happy to succeed in this business, don't you?
Yeah, when people smile, when I put a plate of food down and they smile, or now, with so much social media, when they share a picture, or so many restaurants are, don't take pictures, stop taking pictures of your food. Not me. I want you to take as many pictures, post as much as you can. Plus, it's free advertising. But, to me, again, it's proud. I get to put the art on a plate and to see people smile and then tell a story and be like, man, we went to this place. The artwork was crazy. The music was rocking. The food was delicious and whimsical. That's my passion. It's my legacy, technically.
Whimsical food. Yeah. It's an interesting goal.
Yeah. I like people to go, what the hell is that?
When you started Blue Moon, was it just a standard menu?
We were breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We did full breakfast because my mom is from the diner. I grew up in a diner, so we knew Western omelets and all that kind of stuff. And then we had lunch items because my coffee house, what we do, we served beautiful sandwiches and made beautiful drinks. When we first opened, we were Blue Moon Dining House and Espresso Bar, because that's what I wanted. I wanted a really cool coffee shop. So my lunch menu, which later went bye-bye, was a lot of sandwiches, because that to me is also an art. There is an art to making a sandwich, and you can have so many playful ways of it. So we're actually working it back into the menu now because I need my sandwiches back. And then we had dinner. We had just your average. We would make a different menu every week: spaghetti, pork chops, down home, Americana, that kind of stuff, with a lot of Mexican flair.
Why Mexican?
I don't know. I like it spicy. So does my mom.
You opened the place up doing your version of a pretty traditional menu.
Yeah.
Sounds like a diner menu.
Yeah, basically. Elevated diner situation.
Take me through the evolution to the point where you're now all about breakfast and some of your dishes are outrageous.
Well, actually, our second week of being open, a lady named Elizabeth Large, who wrote for the Sun paper, she came in to do a review, and she reviewed our breakfast, and she gave it 5 stars. Although she did say our peaches were canned, and they most definitely were not. There's never been a canned or frozen item in my restaurant.
And you retain this sense of outrage.
Yes, I do. 28 years later. Those were not canned peaches. But she wrote up our breakfast. And this was so 28 years ago, there was not the brunch movement that there is now. You had a couple places, diners, and that was it. There wasn't this huge thing. So when we kind of scaled towards that, we were the first ones that were brunch forward, if you will. And I mean, people came in, we got busy. It gave us business. People respected her opinion. And I think, so basically Baltimore told us what they wanted and we answered. And then we took it to the next level. And that kind of allowed my playfulness and the whimsical side to come forward, because to me, there's so much more fun you can have with breakfast. And eggs, any chef will tell you, are the hardest thing to make, but they came easy to me. Although I wasn't the chef in the beginning.
I've read that some classical chefs consider the test.
Yeah.
If you're looking like for a new line cook.
Yep.
The test is a roast chicken and an omelet.
Yeah. To me, there can't be white on an omelet. Everybody makes their omelets different. I'm not a fold. I'm a 3 times over. I don't like any white. It must be fully yellow. So you got to whip the hell out of it. And we don't put any added. There's no milk. There's no cream. So many people put water. I've even heard people putting soda water and stuff like that. Ours are just eggs. Just eggs. And not the just eggs out of a bottle, or the carton. Just eggs.
On a flat top or in a pan?
Flat top. Everything on a flat top. I cook my whole world on a flat top. I can cook anything you want. That should be a competition. What can you make on a flat top? And, it's also, to me, the test when I am hiring other cooks and stuff like that, because the term chef, I think, is overused, and I am not. Actually, one of the write-ups we got called my mother and I griddle jockeys. And I thought that was really funny. But to me, the difference is, can you do what's basted? What's the difference between an over easy and an over medium? 1 second can go too far, and that's a big deal. Or a poached egg, and how to make the perfectly poached. Some people put the vinegar in. I don't do any of that either. Just a slow roll and crack your egg in there and let it do its job. Leave it alone. And have that inner timing, go back and pull it out.
With no added acid in the
Nope.
water?
No, you don't need it. You just need that inner timing.
Well, how do you get? It's like, I think I'm a pretty good home cook.
Mm-hmm.
But when people, because of diners and all of that, people assume that I have some chef skills, and I don't. To me, a chef is someone who intrinsically knows. Yeah. When did you realize you had that ineffable something?
That timing. It's that, yeah. It's kind of a funny story. So when we first opened, I ran the front of the house and my mom was the cook. And we were busy. We were completely slammed. And she cut the tip of her pinky off. And
is that the funny part of the story?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Well, because, in the restaurant field, we're tough as nails. That's like, you don't know. So we cleaned it off. I taped it up. I took the tip of a salt shaker, the cylindrical ones, the domes, taped that on there, put that on her finger, and she just started to go back to work. And eventually, it was a little too much. So she's like, okay, listen, I'm going to have to go to the hospital. But it was a good fix for the time to get us through the big rush. And so she had to leave and we were still busy. And so I had to jump on the grill. And I had never done it before. I mean, I created the menu with her. We created the entire menu out of our heads. It was never, it's just like, well, let's make these potato pancakes. Let's do this. Let's do this. We wrote our menu before we prepared it. Because again, it's in here. So I already knew everything. And I just jumped on the grill. Next thing you know, I had this timing that shocked me. I had no idea I had it. And I ended up being better than her. And I actually just explained this to my niece recently. When you have ADD and you're in a kitchen, it's a gift. Because when there's 10, 12 tickets going across the board, my brain can see all of it and prepare for what's going on here and do it here. And it keeps me fully occupied. With one ticket, I'll get distracted and some other thing could come on. But the busier you are and the more there is to do, the faster you can be and the more organized you are. So, or at least that's how mine. I know everybody, it shows differently in everybody. But with mine, it was a gift. And I mean, I just had this inner timing that was insane and so much fun. I love being in the weeds.
That's a challenge for many chefs.
Yeah.
I'm slammed. Watch me now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it became a show. So it also kind of suited my show pony personality. We'd be slammed and I'd be whipping it all up and around and doing all the things at one time. Plus then I'd have music going. I'd grab the spatula and I'd start singing to the customers. It was breakfast and a show. It became my show. And it was so much fun. And then when my mom finally retired, I was able to take over.
Did the diners see you in the kitchen?
Yes.
So you had an audience.
Yeah. Yeah. And our kitchen is sort of open so you could see. Yeah. It gave me an audience at the same time. Yeah. I loved it.
Okay, so you start out with a pretty traditional breakfast menu, and then you start tweaking and adding and becoming, in some respects, outrageous. How did that happen? What made that happen?
Me, I was the catalyst when I took over the kitchen. When we realized that I had this talent and my mom was able to step away and then I was in the kitchen full time, then I was able to see all of these ingredients in front of me. And it almost became, you've heard of like synesthesia, where you hear music, but you see colors. I kind of had that same thing with food and music. I would put on music and I would be in the kitchen and all of a sudden it would just like I called them lightning bolts, would just start coming to my head. And then it became, what fun can I have? What can I put together that's not supposed to go together that people are going to go, what the heck is that? And then be like, it's the most delicious thing I ever had. It opened up my creative juices. I was able to become a culinary artist in the kitchen when I took it over without, it's your mother. It's kind of hard to be business partners with your mother because no matter what, you're going to capitulate to whatever she says. So I finally had the chance to make it mine. That's when all the magic happened.
What was the first magic dish you added?
Well, that's kind of hard because I was doing the Captain Crunch French toast and those kind of fun recipes before. Actually, I think my first encrusted French toast, because I like to say that I pioneered the encrusted movement, because I'll put anything on French toast now. But our first one was actually Frosted Flakes. My mom actually started working on that when we were in the kitchen. That was her favorite cereal. We're like, well, let's try this Frosted Flake thing. I think somewhere, I'm going to give kudos where they're due. I think we had like cornflake chicken somewhere. And we were like, what can we do here to make it us? And so it's like together we were like, let's put this on the French toast. And then I came up with making breakfast would be orange juice. So we made like a fresh orange juice syrup to go with it. And it was delicious. And I still make it sometimes now, but then that's what led into the Captain Crunch. And and that was good. That's a good solid dish. But then when you taste the Captain Crunch, it's a whole different flavor profile. There's something about the caramelization that brings out the maple flavor of the cereal. And it's just so I guess that was the real magic.
I've never heard anyone discuss Captain Crunch in terms of caramelization.
That's a breakfast restaurant for you.
Captain Crunch is a wonderful thing, but it doesn't taste like any fruit that actually grows.
But you put it in some butter and it caramelizes.
So I'm the home cook. I want to encrust my French toast.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, do you want sweet or savory? Because now I have a few savory French toasts that are to die for. And people are always like, you can't do that. I'm like, of course you can.
Example?
I do a heavy cream. I'm not going to give you all my secrets, but I will tell you, you want to use a heavy cream instead of a milk because the heavy cream is going to sit on the bread instead of soaking it in and making it mushy. And you want to keep that bread texture. So I do I do heavy cream and eggs. And then I like to add like a little garlic seasoning, Italian seasoning, that kind of stuff. That's it. And then, so my favorite is we do one with a sour cream and onion potato chip. And you dip it in the bread, you crunch up sour cream and onion potato chips, grill that up, and then we layer it with a lemon dill cream cheese and lox and tomatoes and capers and onions. Who needs a bagel? You got French toast.
Oh my God.
And then we do a crab dip one because Maryland, everything's crab. So we use the Utz crab chips and encrust it. And then we layer it with our house-made crab dip. And then that with tomatoes, that one's really good. And then we also do a Frito pie. So we encrust it with Fritos. And then we do chorizo and black beans and both of our homemade salsas and cheese and sour cream and oh yeah. And then one of our sweet ones, it's our probably the second most popular after the Captain Crunch, and that's the Shut the Fluff Up, and that's encrusted in pretzels with peanut butter and marshmallow fluff and little chocolate drizzle. It's fun. It's whimsical.
Do people eat this during the week?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't come to Blue Moon on a diet.
Well, yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, we have the best and freshest fruit in all the land, and we have beautiful egg whites, fresh cracked. We have turkey sausage. We have some healthy options.
Yeah, I'm coming for the Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
Tell me about some more of your unique dishes. You got something with cannolis?
Oh, well, yeah, that's one of our specials, the Cannoli French Toast. Oh, my God. Well, so again, it's, what can you encrust? Everything. So we use cannoli shell. And we encrust it in the French toast and then make our mascarpone and chocolate chips and, vanilla and all that stuff and layer that up. I mean, it's so good. We have nanner pudding going right now. So it's encrusted in Nilla wafers. And we make a homemade banana mousse with fresh sliced bananas. We have tres leche pancakes going right now. Yeah.
Have you ever gone to one of those labs to check the calorie counts?
No. Everything's lighter on the moon. There's no gravity on the moon.
There you go.
Ta-da, waka waka.
Tell me about some more of the dishes. Doesn't have to be French toast.
I have one. It's my ode to California because, I'm an LA girl. We do our animal hash. So it's our hash browns, just like a giant order of hash browns, double crispy on both sides. And then it has hamburger meat, sauteed onions, lettuce, tomatoes, cheese. And then we do an animal sauce. It's our ode to In-N-Out. Oh, yeah, that one's really good. We have the Hellfire. Actually, the autumn omelet is one of our most popular items all year round. And that is a spiced apple, sage sausage, and cheddar cheese. Just simple, beautiful combination on a 3-egg omelet that is seriously one of our most popular.
Did that come to you one day in a thunderbolt?
Lightning. So, I have lightning bolts tattooed on the back of my ears. I don't know if you can see it here.
Turn a little. Turn. Oh, look at that.
I got that one there and that one there. Because lightning only strikes twice right here.
For those listening, not viewing this, she, honest to God, has lightning tattoos.
And I have lightning all down my back as well.
Okay, don't turn for that one.
You don't want to see that one?
What is the key to figuring out a dish that will make people?
There isn't one. I don't think there is a key. Food is subjective. So everybody has a palate that they prefer, whether it's sweet, salty, or put the two together. It's about thinking about the masses. And then I don't know, it's what I like. I really kind of just go on my own opinion.
Which has proven to be right.
Yes, so they should all listen to me.
What do you see going on in the food world today? I mean, we hear about, do you serve an impossible product?
We have tried them. We've tried the impossible. We've done some tofu. I am working on it. That's difficult for me because I can't create the same things. I have tried. We do have a what I call skinny dipping French toast. So that is on a whole grain bed, and we do it with just egg whites, and we encrust it in granola, and we put Greek yogurt, fresh berries, local honey, and we cook it in coconut oil. Every single part of the meal is doing something for your body. It is healthy. But tofu is hard to work with. I mean, I could do a tofu scramble, but to put it on my menu, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an asshole. I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm working towards it. You know what I mean? I love tofu. I personally eat tofu, but
You're the one.
yeah, right. So I should do it, but we have the turkey products and stuff like that. But gluten-free, I have not been able to perfect my own gluten-free product. I tried making a gluten-free pumpkin bread. I almost broke my own toe. So it's something, like I dropped it. I was like, no, know your limits. Also, how about that? I know my limits. I am not really good at making those items. So, and then it's hard for me to purchase those items from like, say, a Cisco or something like that, because that doesn't go along with the Blue Moon idea. But I have started looking into, other people, like maybe a local bakery who can make me a gluten-free bread that I find delicious. Plus, let me tell you, the cost in the Impossible Meats is crazy. What I would have to charge my customers feels like I'm robbing them as well, which we're already having an issue with the food costs going on right now. It's crazy. Everywhere is hiking up their prices. And I'm really, really trying not to. I'm trying to eat it myself, and just, especially with the competition in the world right now. As I said before, when I opened, there wasn't a lot of brunch restaurants. Now it's the thing where it was just me. Now there's 30 other concepts. So, and I've seen so many wipe themselves out. Right now, I'm just kind of head down, doing my job well, maintaining my product, my quality, knowing I'm still the best, and letting these other companies do what they do and try to not raise my prices too much, not outprice my customers. You can't charge that much for eggs, no matter how much they cost you, because customers don't understand that.
Okay, Captain Crunch French Toast. What's that on the menu for?
It's up to $20 now, which is still hard for me. It was like $10.95, but that was 20 years ago. So it's now up to 20. Our most expensive item is our Sweet Baby Jesus. And that, I can't believe I didn't mention that one to begin with. That is our most popular item. And that's the double crispy hash brown with jumbo lump crab. Here, I'll give you the spiel. It's a hash brown double crispy with 2 eggs any style, jumbo lump crab meat seasoned with Old Bay, fresh diced tomatoes, melted cheddar cheese, and then smothered in our zingy hollandaise sauce.
Now you're making your own hollandaise?
Oh yeah, we make our own hollandaise.
That's tough.
No, people make things tough. I figured out, I've got all the hacks. I call it lazy lady hollandaise. But it's delicious.
You mentioned pricing.
Yeah.
Did the pandemic kick you in the butt?
Yeah, I was very fortunate, I will say. I think a lot of businesses didn't have the loyal fan base, the loyal customer base that I have curated over these last 28 years. There was no way my customers were going to let us close. They're too addicted.
Well, did you do order out or pickup?
I closed completely both locations for 6 weeks while I figured it out, because I needed to educate myself on what was the best manner, what was really going on. And it was scary. Like, I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to go this way. So we closed both places for 6 full weeks. And then we reopened our Fells Point location, the original, 6 weeks later for just carry out. And our business was booming. We were slammed. We actually did some higher numbers, just carry out, than we did on normal, because there wasn't time wasted with the service aspect. And we had everybody doing pre-order. So we were just kicking them out. It didn't give me the satisfaction of the hospitality, but we were very fortunate in that situation. And then, it did slow down. And then we definitely got our asses handed to us a little bit for quite a while. But again, my landlord was very understanding and was able to give some cuts and stuff like that. And I was able to get some help from the government. I'm not too proud to say that I did sign up for some of the loans, and that definitely made the difference. I was able to pay full payroll. And I think that was the most important to me, was keeping my staff. I didn't lose any staff during COVID, where I know a lot of places did, because instead of using the money that I received for other things, I used it all for payroll and kept my staff paid during that time. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was definitely hard. It was scary, but we came together as a big family, and we kept every single protocol. The news actually came to us first, because we were the first restaurant in town that was doing the full sanitation, that was taking the condiments off the tables, that just started immediately addressing what was happening. I watched the news. I was like, I know what's coming. And then I'm also smart enough to know that inflation was going to hit afterwards. We had an LOI signed to do Blue Moon the 3rd, and I was very excited. It was in the neighborhood I really wanted. It was a great location. It was the next step. And I was like, no, we're not doing that now. I see what's coming. And we just, again, kind of put our heads down and did the work.
Do you see a 3rd location in your future?
Eventually, yeah. But still right now, without getting too political, but what our country is going through and what my city is going through, between the crime and we're still trying to find our footing back. And it's kind of hard I don't want to mess up what I have. I have to be very protective, again, of not just myself and my family and my mother, but my staff. We need to maintain what we have solid. I think right now is our time to just work, just do what we're going to do, see what happens next summer. If something comes up, of course, I've always got something bubbling in the cauldron. Always. There's always ideas of what to do next, how to do, where, what. I haven't made it this long without following my instincts, and I think now's the time to continue that.
It appears as if mom and pop restaurants are dying, maybe too extreme, but they're certainly being replaced in many cases by chains.
Yeah, the casual fast food movement. If we're not careful, it's going to be nothing but the breakfast Chipotles and Paneras and that kind of stuff. I mean, the food cost is lower, the overhead is lower. I see the aspect of it, and that's the sad part, is it's changing hospitality. You're not giving the same kind of service. You're not having an experience, which is what Blue Moon always was, is it was an experience as well. And that is kind of dying out. I'm hoping it comes back. Everything retro comes back, right? Why not hospitality?
And the food that people are eating. At the same time that people talk about health and the environment, fast food is still massively popular. There's even more of it now. Convenience stores are cooking, grocery stores are cooking. What do you see happening, the food biz in America?
Unfortunately, that is kind of what I see happening, is the movement of the casual fast food and the chain. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I met with people to franchise myself. I want to head down and stay in the hospitality, but I'm also not going to not be in this business. And if that means that I have to alter my way, I will eventually. I'll make sure I keep the quality and the quirk and the experience of Blue Moon. But if I have to go smaller and people walk in and build a breakfast plate and walk out the door instead of sitting down and having us make you laugh, I mean, I will move forward with this. I'm not dying out, but it's not what I want. I want the come in, sit down, have a moment, enjoy what you're looking at, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, with food costs, who can afford it? You can't afford, and payroll. People can't afford payroll anymore. You can't afford to staff the restaurants to give this kind of service. And then with all the food television becoming so popular and everybody wanting to be the celebrity chef, which I did get a shot at that, which was really fun. But there's no more line cooks or people that just are in the business to work and cook. It's all they want, the notoriety or the fame or the this and that's. It's like, it's hard to be a cook, and that doesn't get appreciated enough. It's hard to be on the line. It's hard to be a fry cook. It's the hardest.
Do you have to train, or do you hire people who know what they're doing?
I train. That way they do it my way. I find it easier to bring in someone green and not come in with all the preconceived notions of right and wrong. I'll teach you what's right and wrong. Again, that's the type A personality, my way. Not saying that somebody could come in, but we're on flat tops. We're not classically trained chefs coming into the Blue Moon. I need people who are busting their asses and cooking, frying eggs and making pancakes and doing all this, but also come in with an openness to play around with the menu items that I offer, because it's not your normal stuff. Prep takes a long time because we've got like 11 different kinds of French toast. It takes a long time to prep that stuff. And we make everything from scratch, from our caramel to our white chocolate. Like, everything's made in-house. And we don't have a freezer. So everything, we get 3, 4, 5 orders a week. We have everything is fresh chopped. We don't get in pre-diced veggies or any of those. All the shortcuts that people are using, we do not. Which is why I am not a rich woman.
You don't make your own pancake batter.
In all honesty, we always did. Everything was always fresh made. When I opened my second location, we tested out a whole bunch of different kinds because the idea of continuity was the most important, but it also had to be Blue Moon quality. So we started practicing, and we've been open 8 years now at Blue Moon 2. So we did start using a bagged, the highest quality Cisco Imperial. I don't mind sharing my secrets. I mean, it's real life. People who say they all do, they're lying. And it worked out for a long time. Some of the things changed. So we are actually now going back to all of it being made because I'm not happy with any of the products. It has changed.
Mixing the batter from scratch.
Yeah, we're back to that.
Better, isn't it?
It's a pain in the ass. And then you're dealing with, it's also not just that, but it's the safety aspect of it. Because, you've got eggs, you've got dairy, you've got things that don't have the same kind of shelf life and things like that. So we're losing product because we dump at the end of every single day, or it's being made a couple times during the day. And it takes time to do that. It takes a time to stop and make a fresh batter. And we have a bunch of different kinds. So there's red velvet, there's black velvet Elvis, there's chocolate chip, there's our great white deep blue, which is named after the great white shark.
What's the Elvis?
Oh, the black velvet Elvis. So it's like a black velvet, which is just a chocolate pancake with black food coloring. I mean, it's same with red velvet. Everybody's like, oh, red velvet. It's gross. It's delicious, but come on, it's just food coloring. And then we do peanut butter, caramelized bacon, and bananas. And we do a bacon crown over it. And it's, like black velvet Elvis, like a black velvet painting.
I love it.
It's funny, right?
So what can you tell the average home cook about improving their breakfasts? How are there tricks?
The biggest trick for me is you can't just use all butter. The cook point, you can't have the high heat, like it just burns off. A lot of people try to cook like French toast and pancakes in just butter. You can't. It's just going to burn.
What do you use?
We use a special something, but let's say it's a couple things put together to make sure you get that buttery flavor, but also we can cook in it properly. And then we also use olive oil and coconut oil. There's a soybean oil being used in places. Come on now. Again, if you want the heart healthy stuff, tell me you want it in the coconut oil and we'll do it. But on your basic thing, if you want it to be delicious, it is what it is. But if you're at home, you got to follow your heart and cook how you want it and what tastes good to you. Again, it goes back to that taste being subjective. Food is so subjective. One of my favorite dishes, and it's horrible, but we cook bacon. We have this thick sliced applewood smoked bacon. We dip it in pancake batter and then we cook it, and we do use the butter on this because you want that little bit burnt, little bit crispy. It tastes like fair food. And then it's like funnel cake bacon, and then you put some powdered sugar on it. It's ridiculous. It's so good.
Oh my God. Now, how'd you invent that?
That was again, you're just in the kitchen. It's like, oh, I think because I see everything. When I walk into a kitchen and I see all of these batters and I see all of these ingredients, let's put them all together. Not one thing is just one thing. Let's utilize this pancake batter and let's make potato pancakes out of it. Let's make bacon dippers out of it. Let's make different kinds of pancakes out of it. Like, what else can we do with it? It's that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just see it. Lightning bolts.
At your place, when you look at a table full of people, are they all looking at their phones?
Sometimes for sure. And we'll give them a hard time because that's also part of Blue Moon is my waitresses have full reign to talk smack. Go for it. If they come up to the counter and they're on their phone, we won't talk to them. Put your phone down. But it's also who people are. And sometimes if you have to wait for food, entertain yourself. But Blue Moon is so multi-textured. When you walk in that door, there is so much to see because it's nothing but art. I'm also a gallery. I sell tons of art.
Yours?
No, none of mine personally, but I have an artist that I have him do what I want him to do. So it is technically mine. It's my ideas because, again, control freak, but done in his manner. It's like a pop art kind of stuff. We sell a ton of it. And we have little blue moons. We have pictures. We have paintings of Captain Crunch French Toast, musical artists because I like the music is so good. We have music going. We have so much art on the walls, and then just the decoration of the blue moon, which is kind of, as it's progressed, where it was a little family diner style, it's now kind of Halloween, Tim Burton-y. It's me. It's me through and through. Like, you can't walk in. Here's a funny story. So my friend Audrey's niece, I've known her since she was born. I hadn't seen her since she was about 12 years old. She walked in to Blue Moon 2 for the first time, and she was 17 at this time. And she goes, oh, this looks just like Sarah. It was just the epitome of me through and through. It's my person. It's all of my personalities. Put together.
And that is a wonderful personality at that.
Nothing was purchased out of a catalog. You go into so many of these restaurants and they all look alike. They all have and they're nice, but they all look the same with the hardwares and things like that. Their booths and their tables all came out of the same catalog. They all went shopping at the same place. My tables are hand painted by me. The walls have different murals. My ceiling is striped. My original Blue Moon is now kind of witchy. It's got all sorts of like witch kind of stuff all around it, leaning into the haunted aspect because we are very haunted as well. And I am a junior paranormal investigator as well.
Have you found anything?
Oh, yeah. Blue Moon, the original Blue Moon is so haunted. So haunted.
Apparently by a spirit that appreciates a good breakfast.
Indeed.
Sarah, you're terrific, and it is great chatting with you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure. You missed my crazy, huh? Haven't seen you in a long time.
It's been a while, kid. Needed a dose of crazy.
Right? Well, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me.
And thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
The maestro of breakfast and lunch, Sarah Simington, from the Blue Moon Cafe in Baltimore. I'm David Page, and I'll see you next time on another episode of Culinary Characters Unlocked.